How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 6th episode of Subscriber Showdown. And before I begin, let me just say I am stressed. Since I made that example of how to send in your cars to Subscriber Showdown, I have had so many applications, it's actually insane. I honestly never expected to get as many applications as I've had, and I want to say a massive thank you to you guys for sending in so many cars. It's, on the one hand, incredible because I've got all this choice, and on the other hand, it's horrendously scary because I have to choose 5 cars every episode, and I genuinely do want to get everyone in there at some point. Now, I've started grouping your applications into groups of 5, and what I will basically do is go through one at a time and just bosh out the videos one after the other. I've tried to make a few themes, etc, so expect more Subscriber Showdown in the next few months. Anyway, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is Subscriber Showdown, where I go through your guys' cars that you send in to me, tell you what I like about them, tell you what I think you should change on them or look to do in the future, and basically give people a chance to see your pride and joy. If you want to enter, the link explaining the process is down in the description, so go check that out. Add even more stress onto me choosing cars for each episode, I'm sure I can take it. And don't forget, there's a poll on this side of the screen with all 5 cars from this video in it. Vote for your favourite and the winner will receive one of these window stickers, basically just cars with JB1's Subscriber Showdown winner on them. Massive well done to James, who won last episode with his Conors Roadster. 47% of the vote, very, very strong. I'll be reaching out shortly to send you one of these. By the way, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting us off in this episode, we have Sven's Proton Satria GTI rally car. Yes, that is literally a rally car on the show, which I think is super, super cool. Congratulations to Sven for buying this in just January of this year. He bought it from a local garage owner who's also part of his local car club. So this guy also rallies a Proton Satria GTI car as well, and then bought this one, built it, and then sold it on to Sven. And Sven hopes to do a few road rallies in it in 2020. So let's go through the mods on it so far. It has a safety devices full roll cage, Tony Law custom decat exhaust, 2 spotlights, sump guard, mud flaps, aftermarket steering wheel, Sparco bucket seat, for some reason on the passenger side and not on the driver's side, but apparently that'll come in the future. Mini lights, replica wheels, obviously you can see it's got a livery on it, a switch panel, rally clocks, air filter, braided onboard fuel lines, hydraulic handbrake, brake bias adjuster, and TRS harnesses. In terms of mods for the future, other than that bucket seat on the driver's side, it's basically ready to go rallying, so it doesn't really require much else. That said, there's a little bit of rust on the floor of the car, so he's going to go and weld that and then it should be fixed. Now, it's hard for me to comment on a car like this because it's built for rallying, so it's got a real purpose to it as opposed to being something that you can kind of mess around with and have fun with. I don't know the rules and regulations for your rallying thing, but if it hasn't already, and I assume it would, some aftermarket suspension would be good. Something that's actually useful for getting out and rallying, as well as a nice set of tyres, but often these rally things have set tyres you're supposed to use, so maybe look that up. Also, yes, the livery looks cool, but I would consider, if I was doing this, redoing the livery to something that I wanted, basically. So if he did that livery, it's time for you to put your own spin on it, in my opinion. But yes, a really cool car to start this list off. Completely different to what I normally do in these videos, but that's the beauty of you guys sending me in such a wealth of different cars. Massive thank you to Sven for sending it in. He also asked me to have a go as a passenger in my dad's Renault, and I mean, if you come to one of his rally shows, maybe you'll get in it. I have no idea. Sometimes he does passenger rides and people get super gassed at them, so go to one of those shows basically and you might get a go. Next up we have HP1 Gamers, and yes, that he didn't actually give me a name, it's just HP1 Gamer. I know he's a subscriber, so thank you for sending in, by the way. But we have his dad's Bentley Arnage T from 2002. And before I carry on, I know some people prefer it if I don't use people's dad's cars or parents' cars or whatever. I just think it lets more people enter, and I like having as many entries as possible, so I'll let people do it for as long as I need the entries. Now, the car isn't modified, it's just a very nice spec of car, but what I would like to talk about is the fact that it's got a 6.75 litre twin turbocharged V8 engine, putting out 450 brake horsepower and around 1,000 Nm of torque. That is just ridiculous, like insane specs from this proper waftmobile. So they drove about 200 miles or 3 hours to an auction where they spotted the car, fell in love with it, bought it there and then, and wanted to drive it back home, but they couldn't, so they had to go all the way back there like 2 days later, grab the car and drive it back. So that means that in the space of those like 3 days of buying the car, they did 400 miles, so there and back, and then 400 more miles, so 800 miles like insane amounts of mileage just to get this Bentley. Now yes, despite the fact they don't plan on doing any mods, I still thought it was well worth putting into this video. The spec of it is absolutely stunning. So it's got cherry black paint on the exterior and then a two-tone red and cream interior with those quilted leather seats which just look insane, particularly with the embroidered Bentley logo near the headrests. I am an absolute sucker for a car with a good interior, and particularly so if it's got a great dashboard, and look at that. For a 2002 car, this is a whole new level of luxury. I can definitely see why you wouldn't modify this car, particularly in terms of maintaining its value, but there are a few things you can do to it to make sure that it's the best that it can be. He mentioned that the car had a few dings and scratches, etc. that have all been buffed out, but I would suggest going one step further and getting the whole car detailed. This is the perfect car to get detailed, and then once you've had it detailed, you can have a look at exactly where the car isn't looking quite as pretty. It can also show you where your chrome is very chrome-like and where it's quite dull, and that's quite helpful because it means that you can make a car fully chromed out and not just have some bits looking more chrome and some bits are a bit sketchy. I don't know how the car sounds, but there are some good exhausts you can get on those Bentleys as well that don't make it like a yobbo car or whatever, but really make the use of that V8 engine that you've got in there. Anyway, a very cool car to include in Subscriber Showdown. Thank you very much to HP1 Gamers for sending it in. Apparently he has a 1987 VW Caddy as well, Mark 1 that he's got. He should definitely send that in because I'll definitely review that in the future. Next up we have Conors Race Red Ford Focus ST3 from 2012 to 2013, which just looks amazing. He bought the car in March 2019, completely unmodified, and has since spent most of his time modifying the exterior of the car to make it look exactly how he wants it to. The car also only had 32,000 miles on it, which is pretty decent. In terms of the mods that he's done so far then, he's put on a full low-line kit with side skirts, rear spats, and a front splitter. He's got some really nice side rear window louvers. I think he may be right about saying that the old Capris had them, as well as also the old Ford Mustangs, some of them had them on the side as well. Maybe completely wrong about that, but it's just what I've seen online. He then went on to the smaller details like the 4D press plates in gloss black, Ford Performance sun strip and number plate holders. He tinted the fog light guards and gel overlays, and then changed the Ford badges as well to match the theme of the car, that red and black. Most recently he started on the engine bay with the Mountune intake pipe, a Focus RS airbox with K&N air filter, and it has a Turbo Smart dual port blow-off valve, and as of very recently he remapped the car to stage 1 and added launch control. Alright, it's got to be said, big fan of the theme you've got going on. The red and black is super cool, but I do feel I can go a little bit further. In the picture of Connor's car alongside his friend's car, he's got those really swaggy wheels on there. I don't know what they're called, but I would 100% recommend those for your car too. If you get a slightly more glossy set in a larger size, that would really work with the red and black theme you've got going on, because it looks kind of like you've got all of this amazing red and all this amazing black and then some rogue silver alloys, and that's not to go against silver alloys because I think they often look very, very good. However, I think this would really match with the look and feel of the car. Another thing that I'm not really a fan of generally on these STs is those little inserts in the bottom of the bumper. The grille looks really sick with that honeycomb sort of mesh look on them, so I feel like if you could replicate that in the bottom parts of the bumper, that could look super, super cool. I don't know how good the suspension is in the ST, but I also might consider getting some coilovers on there just so I can adjust the ride height of my own accord. Not because it needs to be much lower, I think you've got your car at just the right height as it is, but a good set of coilovers never goes amiss. Outside of that, I'd probably leave the interior because it looks nice and clean. I like where you're going in terms of making the car faster, etc. I'd continue down that route, making sure that I also upgraded the brakes and the suspension and everything else to make sure that the car handled nicely. But yeah, looks like you've done a great job so far. Thank you very much to Connor for entering. Let's get on to the next one. The penultimate car on this list is Miguel's 1998 Seat Arosa. Before we begin, massive thank you to Miguel for entering because he's from Spain. And it's cool to see some international subscribers getting involved in Subscriber Showdown because yes, I'll still send you the stickers if you're in another country and you win. He has done a few modifications to the car, so let's go through those now. He's got max speeding rod suspension, a K&N air filter, Sportex exhaust, and an OMP steering wheel. So not that many mods so far, but definitely a lot of scope to improve. In the future, he would like to change the wheels of the car to the Avid 1 AV12s, get a roll cage and racing bucket, and the Willwood Golf Mark II brakes. Now all of those do sound like some great extra mods. I would maybe consider not getting the Avid 1 AV12s and getting something a little bit lighter. I know they look good, but if you're going for the roll cage and the buckets and all that kind of stuff, it might be worth going for a set of wheels that are actually a lot lighter because it helps you with that unsprung mass. Definitely would agree with the racing buckets though. Go for the Sparco Sprints. They have done me super, super proud. I'd say they're probably some of the best that you can get get for the money. If you're going down that route as well, you can always delete the rear seats altogether, and then you've got a very much focused car. There are a few kits that you can get that delete those rear seats and still make it look nice with like the right carpeting and stuff. Also, if you're going to go down that kind of route, I would highly recommend moving on from the max speeding rods when you get a chance. Not immediately, but they don't have that great longevity. So as I've heard, I've never actually experienced them myself, but from people I've heard that they don't last very long. So maybe consider upgrading those. And then I reckon it's just a case of working out what you actually want for your interior. So I would say, yes, obviously the buckets, etc. You got that nice steering wheel in there. I would maybe go for that classic look that I've done in my Polo, which is the carbon fiber, but you could also go for some other looks as well. Considering this car is basically the brother of the Lupo, there's a load of stuff that you could take from the Lupo and put into this car too. So there's some really cool interiors, and there's like leather interiors you can take and all that kind of stuff. There's basically a lot of opportunity to grow and make the car look good because of how much support there is for the Lupo. Now, obviously I'm a big VW Group fan, so I very much like this Seat Arosa. I want to say a massive thank you again to Miguel for entering, and let's go on to the final car for this video. And that final car is Maxime's 1995 Opel Calibra Turbo, and it's an Opel rather than a Vauxhall because Maxime is from the Netherlands, so another international entry, and I really appreciate that. He bought the car back in 2012, so he's owned the car for almost 8 years at this point, and they take care of it, do all the maintenance themselves and all the modifications as well, which I think is super cool. In terms of the modifications so far, it's got LED Opel Angel Eyes, a GS Performance front bumper, a cat delete, a remap to stage 1, and a K&N air intake. With all those mods in mind, particularly that stage 1 remap, the car is putting out around 280 brake horsepower and 329 Nm of torque, so quite decent figures. But Maxime is very much not done. He wants to achieve figures at around about 550 Nm and 600 brake horsepower, and to do that, he's got a whole bunch of mods he wants to get done. These include a full 3.2 litre V6 6-speed manual swap from the Omega and turbocharge that, which can I just say is a ridiculous, insane idea. Bilstein coilovers for a 15 to 20mm drop, 17-inch Japan Racing JR18s, a big Brembo brake kit, new leather seats so the driver's side is a bit scuffed, and an OPC livery. For us in the UK, that would be VXR. Now this sounds like an insane project, and it does look like a very cool car already, and I'm excited to see how it goes in the future. And while yes, I agree, go for those alloys, it will look a lot cooler. I actually quite like how much of a sleeper the car currently looks without the alloys. Those standard alloys you've got on the car look sick. Now, in terms of your ideas of getting insane amounts of power out of this, I agree 100% in terms of the suspension and the brakes because they are most important. I would also consider stiffening the chassis as best as you can, including stuff like anti-roll bars or strut braces or whatever you can do there. In terms of keeping yourself in place in the car, I don't know how well leather seats will do. You can get some really nice sort of daily buckets in there, and they'll just give you that little bit more feeling when it comes to driving. I'm sure you guys are probably looking at some really good leather seats that I have no idea about, but if I was making a really high performance car with that much power, I'd want to feel like I was comfortable inside it. But outside of that, I really like how much of a sleeper it looks, so I probably wouldn't mess around with the car too much on the exterior and just focus on making it faster as you're doing and perform better and handle really good. Thank you very much to Maxime for entering. I hope I did your car justice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to vote on this side of the screen in the iCard. There is a whole poll in there. Vote for your favorite car and they will win one of those window stickers. Again, if you want to enter, link is in the description. Get involved. Do go follow me on Instagram as well, as I'm trying to get to 3,000 followers this year and I'm getting there very nice and slowly. As always, a massive thank you to the patrons for their continued support. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. But thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Listen.